How did that help you and improve your game competing at that playoff level? And what did it do to motivate you as well coming out of it?
I'll start with the second part. And motivation is at an all-time high. Particularly, I was really disappointed in how I played in those first two games in the finals. Not necessarily just because I didn't make shots, but I felt like I had kind of gotten away from who I was and wasn't as aggressive. And I started to get a little bit more comfortable as the series goes on, but, would love to get those back. Obviously, that's not how the game works. So, you got to shift your focus forward and, work on getting back there. So motivation is at an all-time high, and really probably the biggest thing, that I've taken away from the run is just having a better understanding of what it takes to win, particularly in the playoffs and particularly as you move on in the playoffs. So, it's invaluable experience, and it would be really, really silly not to apply it right from the jump this year, and just be really, really focused and intentional as a group, and obviously myself as an individual.
All right, next we have Cooper Moorhead with Heat.com. Go ahead, Coop.
Hey, Duncan. I know you might not be looking at all of your numbers from last year and dissecting them to the nth degree, but by all accounts, you had one of the best shooting seasons of all time, which would be unusual for anybody, but especially early in your career. So just as far as your career path goes from here, I'm curious as if you see your shooting numbers, is there room for significant improvement when it's already one of the best numbers ever? Or is this the kind of case where you are going to have to get better just to keep your numbers the same?
I always think there's areas for improvement, and self-improvement is obviously a huge focus of this organization, but also myself. So, and it might not always show through in terms of, I shoot a higher percentage, or, like it might not necessarily always show up statistically, like just based off of that percentage. But, like you said, I'm obviously going to be keyed in probably more so, and teams are going to try to take away what it is I want to do. So a lot of the development will come in being more effective in getting to those spots that I'm able to be successful in. And then also, as the defense works to try to take those spots away, what am I doing to still be a threat on the floor? So, it's going to come in terms of development in a variety of ways. It's not just, one area for me, but more so, a couple of things that I really feel like I can be intentional and improve on. But with that being said, I always feel like the percentages can go up too. That's just kind of how I am, I guess, as a person. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not sure.
All right, next we have Shannon Irish with Heat TV.
Hi, Duncan. Thank you for your time today. I'm curious about what you think about Udonis Haslam's return to the team, and really what that means for you guys, especially having him as a big part of leadership in the locker room.
It's huge. We're all super excited to have him back. You truly cannot measure what he brings to this organization, and to that group last year. To have that veteran voice in the locker room, and just give us always having a constant direction. And he's obviously lived it, firsthand, and to pass that experience on, whether it be in practice and or in games or in a playoff series. He's always he's serving first, and he's always willing to help out.
All right, next up we have Kritos Satas with SDNA Greece. Go ahead.
Hello, Duncan. First of all, how big boost you get from your last season with the Heat, and also how excited you are about the evolution, the development of your game, both of you and Tyler Hero.
I think particularly the younger guys, we really learned a lot from last year, and obviously a great experience and having the experience of moving on in the playoffs like that. But I think the chip right now as a group is as big as ever, especially just hearing whispers and murmurs of it was kind of a fluke, and it was set up perfectly for us to be successful and this, that, and the third. So just to get back and be all together and just continue to develop. And in terms of, my development and Tyler's, he's constantly pushing me. I hope I do the same for him, and just to see the way he works day in and day out, and the chip that he has and how he approaches his development. He's poised to have a really big year. That shouldn't come to a surprise to anybody. And I'm just excited to play with him and be out there again with him.
Thank you.
All right, and right now with the final question, we have Ira Winderman with the Sun Sentinel.
Duncan, just wanted to get your thoughts on losing a guy like Jay Crowder. I know the marriage was brief, but it seemed very special. And what's that part of the equation like, that you lose guys like Derek Jones Jr. and Jay Crowder and even Solomon Hill for the brief time? What was that like for you?
For sure. All three of those guys. DJ obviously was. I had been around him longer, and that we played summer league my first year together, and he's a good friend of mine. But at the same time, it's kind of the business of basketball, and I'm super excited to see him move on and hopefully have a great opportunity in Portland. Jay and Solomon, like you said, a little bit more brief than the time with DJ, but those guys, the bond that we had in the short time that we did was special for sure. I think the bubble in and of itself is really the ultimate bonding experience, and that you're just around each other all the time. So I love competing with those guys, love coming in and practicing with them, playing with them, and just being around them every single day. Learned a lot from both of them for sure, and super happy for Jay. Great opportunity in Phoenix, and also really, really happy with Solomon in Atlanta. So I stay in touch with all three, text, FaceTime here and there, and just try to keep up with them. So definitely a friendship that will last longer than just this year.
All right, we have an additional question from Barry Jackson.
Duncan, the amount of attention you got from opposing defenses obviously increased as the season went on. Do you expect that to reach an even higher level this year? Has any Heat coach told you to anticipate that? Has another player in the league who you're friends with jokingly said, wait till how we defend you this year?
There's nothing super specific like that. I think just in talking with the staff and, figuring out how we're going to move forward and how I'm going to continue to develop. Obviously, what I want to do is kind of pretty much public knowledge right now in terms of offensively and how I want to score and the spots that I want to get to. So it's going to require me to be, more and more persistent, more diligent, and more creative. And I'm excited about embracing that opportunity and that challenge. It's a great group, and one thing I love is that people are always in my ear encouraging. So I'm very, very thankful for that, and I'm just excited for this opportunity.